The new discoveries here at the Church of the Holy Sepulchre happened during a recent restoration around the tomb of Jesus.
Beneath the ancient stones of Jerusalem, hidden beneath the very heart of Christian faith, a stunning revelation has come to light. Archaeologists, guided by the careful hands of history, have uncovered something extraordinary beneath the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, the sacred site long believed to be the tomb of Jesus Christ. But this discovery is not just another chapter in the story of archaeology. It is a moment that could reshape how we understand the world's most profound narrative. In today's video, we're going to reveal the details of this astonishing find, show how it directly supports the biblical narrative, and explain why this discovery is far more important than most people realize. Stay tuned, because what you're about to hear might just challenge everything you thought you knew. It began with a restoration project. In 2022, it began beneath the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, one of the holiest and most visited sites in Christianity, believed to be the location of Jesus' tomb. A team of archaeologists, led by Professor Francesca Stassola from Sapienza University of Rome, started working on preserving the church's ancient structure. But as they dug deeper, they uncovered something completely unexpected, something that could change the way we think about this site, and, potentially, the history of the Bible itself. What they found beneath the church floor wasn't just more stone or old relics. Instead, they uncovered a 2,000-year-old garden. This garden, untouched and preserved for millennia, contained olive trees, grapevines, and other plants. Just the kinds of plants that would have grown in the time of Jesus. The soil, carefully preserved beneath the church for centuries, held the remains of ancient seeds, olive pits, grape seeds, and other plant remnants, so perfectly preserved, it was as if they had been waiting for someone to find them. These seeds and the pollen found within the soil offer an incredible connection to the past, a tangible link to the flora that once surrounded this area. The most striking thing about the garden, though, is that it wasn't just a random collection of plants. The planting beds were organized, bordered by stone walls. This was not a wild garden. It had been intentionally cultivated. The people who worked this land had shaped it, tended it, and cared for it. It wasn't just a place to grow food. It was a space that had been carefully planned, suggesting that it may have had meaning beyond just providing sustenance. But the discovery doesn't stop there. Beneath the garden, the archaeologists also found rock-cut tombs, carved directly into the stone. These tombs, placed deep beneath the earth, offer even more clues about the people who lived here and the sacred nature of this site. It raises the question, was this garden connected to burial practices, or was it part of a larger sacred space? And could these tombs, found so close to the church, provide more insight into the context of Jesus' time? This garden, hidden for so long beneath the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, isn't just an archaeological find. It's a direct link to the past, a reminder that history often lies beneath the surface, waiting to be uncovered. It's a space that tells us something deeper about the people who lived here, about the land, and about the sacred nature of this place. For centuries, we've known this church as the site of Jesus' tomb. But what if the land beneath it holds even more significance than we realized? What if it's telling us something about the lives of the people who believed, the people who lived, worked, and prayed here? The discovery of this garden doesn't just add a new layer to our understanding of this sacred place. It could change the way we view the history and the narrative of the Bible itself. The discovery of this ancient garden beneath the Church of the Holy Sepulchre is far more than a remarkable archaeological find. It offers direct, physical confirmation of a key moment in the biblical narrative. In the Gospel of John, chapter 19, verse 41, we read, "Now, in the place where he was crucified, There was a garden. For centuries, this passage has been interpreted in different ways, and many scholars have debated whether John was speaking metaphorically or symbolically. Was the garden a literary device, or was it a literal place? The recent excavation beneath the church, however, removes any doubt about the literal nature of John's description. This garden, with its olive trees, grapevines, and other plant life, is not a metaphor. It's the garden that John described, a place tied to the historical and physical events surrounding the crucifixion and burial of Jesus. The significance of this discovery cannot be overstated. For years, scholars who had questioned the literal truth of certain aspects of the gospel were forced to reconsider their positions. The garden found beneath the church is not a symbolic site, nor is it an invention of later Christian tradition. This was the very place where, according to the gospel, Jesus' body was laid to rest, just as described by John outside the city in a garden. The discovery clears up a long-standing debate within biblical scholarship. Critics had long argued that the garden described by John was simply a symbolic element, a spiritual or theological metaphor, rather than a literal geographic location. Some had pointed to the tradition of Christian symbolism, where gardens often represent life, renewal, or paradise, and suggested that John's reference to a garden was an artistic or theological choice, rather than a historical fact. But the physical evidence unearthed beneath the Church of the Holy Sepulchre proves otherwise. The garden is not a literary device. It is an actual, historical location. This discovery is not only a confirmation of John's narrative, but also a reminder of how archaeology can serve as a bridge between faith and history. The soil beneath the Church of the Holy Sepulchre holds physical evidence of what the Gospel describes: olive pits, seeds, and pollen preserved in the earth for centuries. This tangible evidence provides a concrete link to the biblical text, adding weight and credibility to the centuries-old account. The significance of the discovery beneath the Church of the Holy Sepulchre goes beyond the garden itself. It also deepens our understanding of the location of the crucifixion and burial of Jesus. In John 19:20, we learn that the garden was outside the city, a crucial detail that aligns perfectly with the historical context of the crucifixion. The Gospels repeatedly emphasize that Jesus was crucified outside the city gates, Hebrews 13:12, John 19:20, a location that was outside the walls of ancient Jerusalem. This was not just a random detail. It had both religious and legal significance. Under Jewish law, executions were typically carried out outside the city to avoid defiling the sacredness of Jerusalem itself. The discovery of the garden and tombs outside the ancient city walls is a direct confirmation of the biblical description. The garden, as described by John, lies precisely in the location where it should be, in a place that would have been considered a burial ground, as ancient Jerusalem would have had cemeteries just outside its walls. This is further verified by the geographical layout of ancient Jerusalem, which was fortified with walls that enclosed the city proper. The area surrounding the walls would have been used for burial sites, and the location of the garden beneath the church matches this historical reality. Additionally, the physical layout of the tombs adds another layer of confirmation. In the Gospel of Matthew 27:60 and John 19:41, we read that Jesus was buried in the tomb of a wealthy man, Joseph of Arimathea. The tombs discovered beneath the garden fit this description perfectly. These tombs were not hastily carved or simple grave sites. Instead, they are newly hewn rock-cut tombs that reflect elite burial practices. This design matches the kind of tomb that would have been provided by a wealthy individual, just as the Gospels describe Joseph of Arimathea offering his tomb for Jesus' burial. The tombs also align with the details given in Mark 15:46, which states that Jesus was buried in a tomb that had been cut out of the rock. The rock-cut tombs found beneath the church match this exact description. The workmanship of these tombs is consistent with what would be expected of a tomb used by an affluent individual of the time. This connection between the discovered tombs and the gospel narrative of Joseph of Arimathea offers another important piece of evidence that links the archaeological findings to the biblical account. These discoveries go a long way in validating the location of the crucifixion and burial site of Jesus. The evidence uncovered beneath the Church of the Holy Sepulchre strengthens the connection between the sacred texts and the physical reality of the place. The tombs, the garden, and the location outside the city walls all match the details provided in the Gospels, confirming that this is indeed the place where these world-changing events took place. Unmatched evidence. 6 confirmations of the biblical account. The significance of the garden and tombs discovered beneath the Church of the Holy Sepulchre can't be overstated. Each layer of evidence uncovered offers irrefutable confirmation of the biblical narrative. Let's walk through 6 critical confirmations, each of which strengthens the case for the accuracy of the gospel accounts. First confirmation. The garden's location outside Jerusalem's city walls is one of the most compelling pieces of evidence. In John 19:20, we're told that Jesus was crucified and buried in a garden outside the city, a detail that sets the stage for everything that follows. The tombs and garden discovered beneath the church are situated just where they should be, outside the ancient city's walls. This is no coincidence. It's not just an approximation. It's an exact match to the description given in the Gospel of John, verifying that this is the real location of Jesus' burial. Second confirmation. The tombs themselves offer a second powerful confirmation of the biblical account. These tombs are not ordinary graves, but newly carved, rock-hewn tombs. And importantly, their design reflects the kind of tomb that would have been used by a wealthy individual. This matches perfectly with the Gospel of Matthew 27:60, which tells us that Joseph of Arimathea, a wealthy man, provided his own tomb for Jesus' burial. The fact that these tombs are carved in a manner consistent with elite burial practices of the time strengthens the biblical claim. These were not just any tombs. They were the kind of tombs that someone like Joseph of Arimathea, described in the Gospels, would have offered. Third confirmation. The tombs were hand-cut from solid rock, not natural caves, which is another confirmation of the biblical account. Mark 15:46 describes Jesus' burial in a tomb that had been cut out of the rock. This detail of the tomb's construction is often overlooked, but it holds profound significance. In ancient Jerusalem, it was common for tombs to be carved directly into the rock, but the specific nature of these tombs, deliberately hand-cut and shaped, matches exactly with the gospel description. The craftsmanship of the tombs discovered beneath the garden points to the high status of the person for whom they were intended, and it's further proof that these tombs were designed exactly as the Bible describes. Fourth confirmation. Another striking confirmation lies in the immediate accessibility of the garden. The Gospels tell us that Jesus was buried quickly, in a hurry, due to the approaching Sabbath. Matthew 27:57-60. Mark 15:42-47. The placement of the garden right outside the city walls would have made it an ideal location for a swift burial. In an urgent situation, a place that was both close and available would have been invaluable. This garden, with its carefully organized planting beds and proximity to the city, fits perfectly with the urgent nature of Jesus' burial. It was a location that was easily accessible in the final, desperate moments before the Sabbath, when time was running out. Fifth confirmation. The presence of olive trees and grapevines in the garden is a direct echo of the imagery used in the Gospel of John. In John 19:41, the garden is described simply as where he was crucified. However, the imagery of the garden evokes a deep spiritual resonance. Olive trees, grapevines, and other plants found in this garden align with the kinds of flora mentioned throughout the Bible, including the olive tree, which holds particular spiritual significance in the Bible. The olive branch is often seen as a symbol of peace and reconciliation, an apt metaphor for the resurrection, the renewal of life, and the hope that followed Jesus' death. The garden's flora is not only an agricultural curiosity, it resonates with the themes embedded in the New Testament, offering a rich layer of spiritual connection to the place. Sixth confirmation. The deliberate burial of the garden by Emperor Hadrian in the 2nd century provides a unique and unexpected confirmation of the site's significance. Hadrian, in 135 AD, sought to erase all traces of Christianity by building a Roman temple over the site of Jesus' crucifixion and burial. Ironically, his attempt to wipe away Christian memory ended up preserving the very site he tried to eliminate. The debris and construction left by Hadrian essentially sealed the garden and tombs beneath the earth, protecting them from centuries of wear and destruction. This act of suppression by the Romans inadvertently kept the sacred location intact. The fact that this site was venerated by early Christians, so much so that Hadrian felt compelled to cover it up, serves as confirmation that this was not only a burial site, but one of immense religious and historical importance. Part 5. Why this discovery is far bigger than anyone realizes. While this discovery may seem like a fascinating historical find, it's far more than just a curiosity for archaeologists or a compelling piece of ancient history. This discovery is a powerful verification of the Bible's accuracy. For years, skeptics have claimed that the Bible is filled with myths, symbols, and exaggerated stories that can't be trusted as literal history. But this discovery places those arguments in a difficult position. The garden is real. The tombs are real. The very site where Jesus was crucified and buried is not just a theological abstraction or a symbolic story. It is grounded in history, in real earth, real tombs, and real plants. Skeptics who have long argued that the Bible is a symbolic narrative or a collection of myths must now reckon with the evidence. The very places that the Bible describes, Jesus' burial in the garden, the tomb of Joseph of Arimathea, the specific location of the crucifixion, have been uncovered in a way that leaves no room for doubt. For those who have questioned the reliability of the Gospel accounts, this discovery is a direct challenge. It forces us to confront the fact that the Bible is not simply a collection of moral stories or metaphors. It is a historical document, deeply rooted in real places, real events, and real people. What was once a story told by faith is now confirmed by the very soil of the earth. This discovery is also significant because it reveals a story that has been hidden for nearly 2,000 years. Hadrian's deliberate attempt to erase Christian memory actually preserved the site for future generations. His construction, meant to obliterate Christianity's foothold in Jerusalem, ended up safeguarding it for future discovery. In an ironic twist, the very effort to destroy Christian history ended up protecting it. The Church of the Holy Sepulchre now stands as a beacon on the very ground where Jesus was crucified and buried, a place where faith and history converge. This discovery beneath the Church of the Holy Sepulchre represents a rare and profound moment where archaeology, history, and faith all point in the same direction. It offers undeniable proof that the events of the Bible, particularly those surrounding the crucifixion and burial of Jesus, are not just spiritual teachings or mythical stories. They are deeply rooted in real, physical history. In a world where the validity of faith is often questioned, This discovery serves as a reminder that Christianity is not just a set of beliefs or traditions. It is grounded in the historical reality of Jesus' life, death, and resurrection. The places described in the Bible are not distant legends. They are real, and they are waiting to be discovered. As we reflect on this remarkable find, we're reminded of the power of both faith and history. In an age where skepticism often reigns, this discovery is a call to remember the truth, a truth that has stood the test of time and now, thanks to modern archaeology, is confirmed in ways that no one could have predicted. If this discovery has moved you as it has us, be sure to like, subscribe, and share this video. Let's continue to share this profound connection between faith and history with the world.